ਹਰ ਜਿਉ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰੇ ਤਾਂ ਨਾਮ ਤੇ ਆਈਐ ਜੀਓ। ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਮਿਲੈ ਸੁਭਾਏ ਸਹਿਜ ਗੁਣ ਗਾਈਐ ਜੀਓ। ਹੁਕਮਨਾਮਾ SGGS ਪੇਜ 690 ਅੰਗ 690 ਤਨਾਸਰੀ ਛੰਤ ਮਹੱਲਾ ਚੌਥਾ ਘਰ ਪਹਿਲਾ। ਇੱਕ ਓਂਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ। ਹਰ ਜਿਉ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰੇ ਤਾਂ ਨਾਮ ਤੇ ਆਈਐ ਜੀਓ। ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਮਿਲੈ ਸੁਭਾਏ ਸਹਿਜ ਗੁਣ ਗਾਈਐ ਜੀਓ। ਗੁਣ ਗਾਏ ਵਿਕਸੈ ਸਦਾ ਦਿਨ ਜਾਇ ਆਪ ਸਾਚੇ ਭਾਵੈ। ਅਹੰਕਾਰ ਹਉਮੈ ਤਜੈ ਮਾਇਆ ਸਹਿਜ ਨਾਮ ਸਮਾਵੈ। ਆਪ ਕਰਤਾ ਕਰੇ ਸੋਈ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਪਾਈਐ। ਹਰ ਜਿਉ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰੇ ਤਾਂ ਨਾਮ ਤੇ ਆਈਐ ਜੀਓ। ਤਨਾਸਰੀ ਛੰਤ ਮਹਿਲਾ 4th ਘਰ ਫਸਟ। ਇੱਕ ਓਂਕਾਰ Sadguru Prasad. In the previous so many shabds, Guruji has been stressing upon the need for us to seek the guidance of the Guru and under his guidance meditate on God's name. In this shabad, he wants us to realize that in fact this gift of holy company and the gift of meditation on God's name is obtained only when God himself shows his mercy on us. In other words, if we are doing any of these things, such as going to the holy congregation or trying to live in accordance with the guidance of the Guru or meditating on God's name, then instead of feeling conceited about it, we should be thankful to God that He has shown His grace and mercy on us and is bestowing this invaluable gift of name on us. Therefore, Guruji says, "O my friends, when the Reverend God shows mercy, only then we can meditate on His name. And when in a natural sort of way we meet the true Guru, that we sing God's praises in a state of voice. When it so pleases the true God, one remains in bloom day and night by singing His praises. Then one forsakes arrogance, self-conceit and worldly attachment or maya, and through meditation on the name merges in a state of peace and poise. But again, it is the Creator God who does everything Himself, and only when He Himself gives this gift that we get it, and only when the Reverend God shows mercy that we meditate on His name." Para 1. ਅੰਦਰ ਸਾਚਾ ਨੇ ਪੂਰੇ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੇ ਜੀਓ। ਹਾਂ ਤਿਸ ਸੇਵੀ ਦਿਨ ਰਾਤ ਮੈਂ ਕਦੇ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਰੈ ਜੀਓ। ਕਦੇ ਨਾ ਵਿਸਾਰੀ ਅੰਦਨ ਸਮਾਰੀ ਜਾਂ ਨਾਮ ਲਈ ਤਾਂ ਜੀਵਾਂ। ਸਰਵਣੀ ਸੁਣੀ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਮਨ ਤ੍ਰਿਪਤ ਹੈ ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਪੀਵਾਂ। ਨਦਰ ਕਰੇ ਤਾਂ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਮੇਲੇ ਅੰਦਿਨ ਵਿਵੇਕ ਬੁੱਧ ਵਿਚਰੈ। ਅੰਦਰ ਸਾਚਾ ਨੇ ਪੂਰੇ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੈ। Next, Guruji shares with us his own state of mind. He tells us how the true Guru has enshrined God's name in him and what he is doing now day and night. He says, "O my friends, the perfect true Guru has enshrined within me a true love for God. Now I remember him day and night, and he never goes out of my mind. Yes, I never forsake him, and day and night I remember him in my heart. I feel as if I survive only when I meditate on his name. When I hear God's name, this mind is satiated from worldly riches, and through the Guru's word I drink the nectar of God's name. But only when he shows his grace, he unites one with the true Guru, and then a sense of discrimination between good or bad prevails in one's mind. The perfect true Guru has enshrined a true love for God within me." Para 2. ਸਤ ਸੰਗਤ ਮਿਲੈ ਵਡ ਭਾਗ ਤਾਂ ਹਰ ਰਸ ਆਵੈ ਜੀਓ। ਅੰਦਨ ਰਹਿ ਲਿਵ ਲਾਏ ਤਾਂ ਸਹਿ ਸਮਾਵੈ ਜੀਓ। ਸਹਿ ਸਮਾਵੈ ਤਾਂ ਹਰ ਮਨ ਭਾਵੈ ਸਦਾ ਅਤੀਤ ਬੈਰਾਗੀ। ਹਲਤ ਪਲਤ ਸੋਭਾ ਜਗ ਅੰਤਰ ਰਾਮ ਨਾਮ ਲਿਵ ਲਾਗੀ। ਹਰਖ ਸੋਗ ਦੁਆ ਤੇ ਮੁਕਤਾ ਜੋ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਕਰੇ ਸੋ ਭਾਵੈ। ਸਤ ਸੰਗਤ ਮਿਲੈ ਵਡ ਭਾਗ ਤਾਂ ਹਰ ਰਸ ਆਵੈ ਜੀਓ। Elaborating on the necessity and blessings of the saintly congregation, Guruji says, "O my friends, only when by great good fortune one is blessed with saintly congregation does one obtain the relish of God's name. If day and night one remains attuned to God, then one merges in the state of poise. When one merges in the state of poise, one seems pleasing to God's mind and forever becomes detached from Maya, the worldly riches and power. Then one's glory spreads both in this and the next world, while the mind remains attuned to God's name. One becomes free from the effect of both pleasure and pain. So whatever to that person, whatever God does seems pleasing. But, O my friends, only when by great good fortune one is blessed with holy congregation that one obtains the relish of God's name. Para 3. दूजे भाई दुख होए मन मुख जम जोया जियो हाय हाय करे दिन रात माया दुख मोया जियो माया दुख मोया हमें रोया मेरी मेरी कर्तव्य हावे जो प्रभ दे तिस चेतै नाही अंत गया पछतावे बिन नावे को साथ न चालै पुत्र कलतर माया थोया दूजे भाई दुख होए मन मुख जम जोया जियो. Now Guruji described the state of mind of those who, instead of loving God, remain in love with the duality or worldly things, such as their wealth, possessions, or relatives. He says, O my friends, when instead of God, one remains in love with the other worldly riches and relatives, one suffers in pain, and the demon of death has kept such a self-conceited person under his eye or close scrutiny. Then, caught in the pain of worldly affairs, one suffers from anger due to one's ego and spends one's life crying, "This is mine, that is mine." Then one doesn't remember that it is God who gives everything, and in the end, when departing from the world, one repents. However, except God's name, no one goes with the mortal, and one is deceived by worldly attachment for one's sons, wife, and wealth. Yes, O my friends, when instead of God, one remains in love with other worldly things, one suffers in pain, and the demon of death has kept such a self-conceited person under his eye or close scrutiny. Para 4. कर कृपा ले हो मिलाए महल हर पाया जियो सदा रहे कर जोड़ प्रमन भाया जियो प्रमन भावे ता हुक्म समावे हुक्म मन सुख पाया अंदर जपत रहे दिन राती सहजे नाम ते आया नामो नाम मिली वडियाई नानक नाम मन पावे कर कृपा ले हो मिलाए महल हर पावे जियो नामो नाम मिली वडियाई नानक नाम मन पावे कर कृपा ले हो मिलाए महल हर पावे जियो. Guruji concludes the Shabad with a humble address to God. He says, O Reverend God, showing mercy, whom you unite with yourself, that person has obtained to the mention of God. Such a person always remains present before you with folded hands, and God seems pleasing to that person's mind. When God becomes pleasing to the mind, one merges in the will of God, and by obeying God's command, one has enjoyed peace. Then day and night one keeps remembering God and keeps meditating on the name in a state of peace and poise. Then, O Nanak, it is only God's name which seems pleasing to one's mind, and by meditating on God's name, one is blessed with the glory of name. O Reverend God, showing mercy, whom you unite with yourself, that person obtains to God's mention. 5-1. The message of this Shabad is that if we want to find eternal peace and union with God, then forsaking our self-conceit, we should join the congregation of saintly persons and meditate on God's name under the guidance of the Saint Guru Granth Sahib Ji, so that if it so pleases him, God may unite us with him. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh, SGGS, page 690. Thank you.